My brothers and sisters, the Lord is with you.
And also with you.
We continue listening to God speak to us from the Gospel in the tradition of John.
Glory to you, Lord.
There was a wedding at Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the wedding. When the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." He said to her, "Woman, how does this problem of yours affect me? My hour has not yet come." His mother told the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby there were 6 stone water jars, the type used for ceremonial washing. Jesus said, "Fill the jars with water." They filled them to the brim. And then he said, "Take some out and bring it to the head waiter." They took it, and when the head waiter tasted the water that had become wine, though he didn't know where it had come from, but the servants knew, the head waiter called the bride and the bridegroom over and said to them, "Everybody serves the best wine first, and then the cheaper type, but you have kept the best until now." This, the first of Jesus' miracles, was performed at a wedding in Cana. His disciples saw his glory, and they put their faith in him. And this is the gospel, the good news of our salvation.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So we gather tonight, as always, we thank God that we can be here. And we thank God that we can see Christina tonight. It's so good to have you back with us. Travel safe back to Maryland and the snow.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned when we first started tonight, we have the color green. And green is primarily a color of hope. A color that causes us to grow in God's love. And those of us who have come from the northern environs remember when the first little bud of spring would appear on a dead branch, or a little crocus would come out of the ground, and all of a sudden there'd be a storm and it'd go back into what it was like. But so we're in this season of ordinary time, and this year, because Easter is so late, normally there are only 2 or 3 Sundays of ordinary time before we begin Lent. But Lent begins this year on March 6th, and Easter is April 21st. So we have 7 or 8 weeks of ordinary time beforehand. And in this particular year, we read the Gospel of Luke. Now you might say, that's not what we heard tonight. No, it's not. This is from John. And the whole significance of the wedding isn't so much between 2 people, but it's the wedding, the betrothal of God and humanity. The way God witnessed the wedding of this bride and groom, God witnesses our wedding in his presence each day, each time we gather as a community. And it's interesting too, I just thought of this as I was sitting there, because to tell you the truth, Father Vinny was supposed to preach tonight, but we changed it around. This particular gospel where we see Mary doing something, what is she doing? She's concerned for the couple. Yeah, they have no wine. She didn't want to make them look bad. Weddings in the day of Jesus probably lasted for 4 or 5 days. So there was a tremendous need for a lot of wine. But Mary does something. And she does, at this particular point, when Jesus is coming out as the Christ, she does something that she did 30 years ago when Jesus was born. She gives birth to Jesus physically. She gives birth to Jesus in his ministry. And the way Jesus answers her, "Woman, what is this concern of yours to me? My hour has not yet come." And She knew what he had to do. She knew that he wasn't sent to be her caretaker. She knew that he wasn't sent to be a carpenter. But he needed a push. He needed a push out of the nest. I read something during the week about when eaglets are born, that the mother and father birds bring food to them and place it in their mouth. And then it comes to a point where it's time for them to spread their wings. And what do? They throw them out of the nest. And then the father swoops down and picks them up and carries them back. But they have to learn Jesus had to learn to do his job. And the job that he was given is very simply to show himself, as God loved to call him, God's anointed. Okay? So, Jesus changes water into wine. The biggest miracle is that each one of us can be changed into the image and likeness of God. Was changing the water and wine a miracle? The miracle was they saw what he did and they put their faith in him. Pray for me as I pray for you. And may God bless us and keep us. May God's face shine upon us and give us peace, now and always.
Amen.
Amen.